Here are three images this morning, which I hope point to something of the meaning, the significance, the impact, the importance of this great feast of Pentecost. Three images, one straight from the gospel, two a little more lighthearted, extra biblical in nature. First, the lighthearted ones. Lockdown life is changing a little bit. Maybe you've noticed. Restrictions are easing. I saw far fewer masks at my weekly Walmart run. And it's been about 2 weeks since gyms reopened. Even before that, Father Matt began to talk about going back to the gym, and I thought, oh, good. He can stake out the slow times, and I'll just keep my distance from him for several days, see if he starts looking sickly or not. Then I'll decide. There's the first point. What's on the inside shows itself on the outside. Interior convictions about the coronavirus, government authority, and God, for example, make themselves known. They become visible. I still find fascinating a grammatical point in the earliest Apostles' Creed found in Rome, as I recall. After professing faith in the Father and in the Son, the Creed intentionally omits the definite article, the, in reference to the Holy Spirit. It simply reads, I believe in Holy Spirit. It's not an error, it's intentional. The profession of faith in the third person of the Holy Trinity occurs through referencing the visible effects of the Holy Spirit in the life of the community. It's like saying, I believe in Holy Spirit power, the animating principle behind the activity. You see, there was no full profession of faith in God apart from the church, from the community of believers, where you could see his activity. It's not as though faith in God could be professed in the abstract, like an idea. I believe in God. No, it could only be professed within the context of a body alive with the Spirit. Now, how often I've thought this about all of you. I continue to see dropping by at all hours of the day and week, dropping off your offertory envelopes, your contributions, and all those food pantry items. I mean, don't you know that there are shortages and the economy is suffering? Well, of course you do. You're just animated by a different spirit than that of the world. There's the first point. Interior convictions are visible exteriorly. The second image has to do with ceiling fans and electricity. It must have been Monday when I was cleaning and doing laundry with my ceiling fans going and the lights on. I returned to my room at one point and found the lights out and the fans going at a faster pace than what I had left them. These fans are only controlled by remote, so I tried the remote and no luck. I thought dead battery. Changed the battery, no luck. Now, I figured, I could remove the wall plate and do something to the wiring, but I don't have a whole lot of experience with residential wiring, so I thought, there must be a physical switch on the fan itself. So there I went up on the bed with the blades whirling, slowing them down, and grabbing some masking tape to keep them in place as I was searching for that switch, which I never found. So I called Dad, and first thing I learned was that the black wire in your house is different than the black wire in your car. And I thought, I should learn more about this. So I bought new fans. And the first thing I discovered is that there's a downside to heeding the precaution about turning off the power when you're working at night. It's kind of hard to see. And I kept thinking, well, look, faith is not what we see so much, but the light by which we see. The second discovery was I made a providential choice with the distressed finish on those ceiling fans, since I added to its distressed look. The last thing was, as I was finishing up the last fan, there were two screws that were being obstinate, or maybe I was being obstinate, on the ladder trying to get them screwed in with my left hand, and it just wasn't working. And then it dawned on me, you could turn the ladder around the other way and use your right hand. So I finished the job, and I noticed that my left hand wasn't sulking or disappointed that the right hand got the job done. My left hand actually seemed happy that we were through. To each individual, the manifestation of the Spirit is given for some benefit. There are different kinds of spiritual gifts, forms of service, and workings, but a body is one, though it has many parts. So also Christ. Rejoice in the gifts others have. Siblings, friends, co-workers, acquaintances, people you don't even know but you see on TV. Rejoice in the gifts others have. This combats envy, resentment, pride, because it suggests, well, look, these gifts are not my own. Those are not their own. They come from a different source. Let me rejoice in that source. And be mindful of the gifts you have been given and employ them for the benefit of others, which not only helps them, but also helps you to have a meaningful and rewarding life. It's enriching to offer what we've been given to the service of something larger than ourselves. There's the second point. Many parts, one body, one Spirit, giving the gifts. The third is the biblical image, Christ breathing on his disciples. Now, one thing is for sure that's not consistent with social distancing, and neither is the Catholic way of worshiping, I might suggest to you. The gospel is incarnational. Breathing on the disciples is not something only of the mind, but it implies the body and matter. And if you think about it, the act of Jesus as God involved the mediation of matter, the body, humanity, glorified as it was, but still human. God acting in the person of Jesus, using our humanity, taking up space and time, using matter to communicate something divine, that forgiveness. Perhaps this is why our worship is the way it is. Bread, wine, water, oil, touch. Perhaps this is why our worship is the way it is, begun as it was with him. And perhaps it helps to explain why you feel compelled to be here, even if you can't. Unlike most other communities of faith, much of what is done ordinarily on a Sunday can continue to be presented. You miss the communal aspect, that's large, and that's for sure. But the readings, the music, the teaching, that can all still be done online. But not for us. It requires the body, matter, bread, wine, water, oil. It makes sense because that's precisely what Jesus made use of.